Hello, and I'm back. And today is another day, and it's about this white enclosed trailer. Client brought it to me. He just bought it. Wants to make sure everything is working. He said the brakes don't work. Part of the issue is the connection, which will be replaced. The disconnect is broken, the emergency disconnect. Battery's no good. So I took all that stuff apart. Didn't want to bore everybody with all that. So we will be replacing that because it's beat up in there and it's not worth trying to fix it. It's really not. It's spent too much time on that silliness. So in further investigation on why his brakes don't work, it's because they've been, I don't know, could have broke. Yeah, it feels like it broke, the wiring to it on both axles. So right now I'll be removing the hub. And as you can see, the wheels are off. So I'm going to remove the hub for the first time and see what the brakes look like. And hopefully he doesn't need brake shoes. But at least I know what the problem is when it comes to why his brakes aren't working. So I'm going to put you on the stand system to actually edit and post the videos. And I used a Microsoft one because CapCut, for some reason, it isn't functioning right now. It's out of order. But I tried that. I don't like it. I don't think it's user friendly. CapCut is more user friendly. That's my opinion. You know, and being that I'm a bonehead with this stuff, I would know the difference between good and bad. And hopefully CapCut will get it together. And I am watching the inauguration. Oh my God. Trump's inauguration. Oh boy, I'm a bonehead for sure. But I'm watching it. I want to see it. I think it's awesome. That's just my opinion. New president coming in. And I'm sure he's going to do good things. Alright. Well, the seal looks good. The drum itself looks pretty good inside. And I'm glad that is a type of spindle where it's got the grease fitting on there and it's got the little rubber boot grommet, whatever. You remove that and then you stick your grease gun in there and grease it up. Checking the electric brake setup. Looks pretty good. Brake pads look good. Yep. Still a lot. When you get new ones, they're not. This is real close to new, sort of. Not much difference between a new pad and this one that's on here. So far so good. I'm going to pop off that one. I'm going to leave these open because when I go to hook everything up, I'll be able to verify that the actual brakes are working. So now I'm going to move over to the other one after I take the grease off my fingers and get that one off. My bald head, I whacked it yesterday on my custom car trailer. Yeah, I hit it pretty good. Took some skin off. And I was ducking to get out of the way of it, but guess I didn't duck low enough. Took some skin off. Really. And there's no reason to beat on these caps. Some people do. Some people don't. I don't. That's right. I do not. Move this over a little bit more. Ooh, it looks a little crusty in there. Rusty crusty. Yeah. And the top of the spindle has a flat spot. They're usually on all spindles on trailers that I've noticed. It could be wrong. If can't say all, but every one I've ever played with, worked on, flat. And in that flat spot, there is it's either cotter pin. In this case, it's got a flat washer on the inside of that nut with a flange that sticks up, a piece of metal. And once you have one of these slots lined up with it, you bend it up so it locks the nut in place. And in this case, it's not there. It's actually one of the hexagon part is right over the center of it, and there is no locking that I can see. It should be moved over. Oh, it's in there. It must have moved along the way. You should have worked it out with the adjustment on the nut and got it to where it was more centered. But they did what they did, and at least it didn't come off. It seems kind of tight. It should be a little bit more freer. That one was really comfortable. Let's see. All right. Okay, that just freed that up. Really not much grease, hardly any. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. That little flange. Yep. Yeah. This bearing has very, very little grease. I will have to clean it up, make sure the bearing is good, and then repack it before I put it in there and grease it through its grease fitting in the front. The seal is good. Needed more grease. Okay. Yeah, these brake shoes look the same as the front ones. The spring is good on it. Drum, and then applies the brake with this lever, and then pushes both of the brake shoes out, and that's how that works. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to clean these up, and then I'm going to take off the other side and go through the same thing, and then as I go to put the stuff back together, I'll bring it back up to speed. In the meantime, I'm going to put you on hold because the rest of the stuff that's got to be done is boring as it is. I want to make sure I don't mess up with this mic. So I'll be right back. Okay, well, I'm back. I cleaned everything up here, the drum, and in my cleaning up of the bearings that were in there, because I mentioned that there was rust forming around it, we need new bearings. They chatter when you turn it. And how I clean grease and so forth and oils, a lot of that stuff I like using. Actually, I have a container of used diesel fuel. I get that from when I'm changing out fuel filters on diesel trucks. And I save some of it and I put in that container so that I can clean them up, get all the grease out of them. I find that works the best. And if you get a lot of deep dirt on your hands, you can even use that to get it off. You can use brake clean, but I think the oil and the diesel fuel there works really well in getting everything clean. So I'm going to have to make a trip to go get new bearings for this one, a new seal. All this I cleaned up, the brakes and everything, and they looked just as good as the front ones. And I will go to the other side and see if we need any of that stuff. But for now, I figured I'd show you the end results and my findings for this particular axle. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and I'm on the right side of the trailer, and I thought I would show the corrosion and rust before touching anything and taking it off. That's not a good sign to see all that. Looks the same as the opposite side, and actually it's the same axle. So I figured I'd give the view of what it looks like with corrosion on there, rust, and most likely those bearings and sealers have to be changed as well. So I'm going to get busy and take that apart, clean everything up, and go get me some parts. Okay, I thought I would show you what it should look like when you take off the dust cap. Looks like fresh grease to a point. It's not corroded and rusted, and it's just like the same axle on the opposite side, the left side. That's really what it should look like. So I have faith in the bearings being good on this side as it is on the opposite side. So you have good and you have not good. So I'm going to pursue this and get it all taken care of. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. And as you can see here in this box, we went and picked up some of the parts we needed. A new battery, bearings for the front axle and the rear axle. I found that the other side, as I mentioned, is just as bad. I showed you and viewed. And the front one on the right side was a little scarred. So the heck, change all four of them inside and out. New seals. Picked up some extra lights because he needs them. And a new breakaway switch for the brakes. That's what the battery is for as well. And also got a new, let me go back, new wiring harness. This one here is pretty nasty inside. It's not worth trying to fix. I think I mentioned that. This side's cleaned up and ready for the new bearings and stuff. Everything has been cleaned up. I also need to get more grease. I ran out. Oh, here's the new plug, and there's the chief in charge. There she goes. She just ate. Good old Puss in Boots. That's right. Oh, she's sitting up against the ladder, waiting, maybe, thinking I'm going to come over and pet her. I might as well. Wait, Puss in Boots. Oh, nope, can't pet her. She just ate. She's got to go outside and do her thing. Funny cat. But new wiring harness, 2 new chains, additional lights, and some yellow reflectors or amber reflectors and 1 amber light. I already started changing out the lights as I was waiting for a couple of things to arrive, and they did. The right side is done. I have both hubs on. I just put 1 wheel on, and I'm fixing to put the other wheel on and then go to the other side and get that one finished. And then I'll finish doing the lights and the chains, the wiring. I gotta make sure that I can get his brakes to work. I'll test them. It's easy enough. Apply power and make sure they do what they're supposed to do. So I'll end up leaving it jacked up, so as I apply the power, I'll be able to manually spin the wheel and make sure that they're stopping without having to move the trailer. I found that the wiring was broken inside, or I should say on the back side, where the wiring pops through. All 4 were broken off. I think there's just dry rotted. They just didn't want to hold up anymore. So, and each time I tried to strip the wire and so I can connect them, they just kept breaking. So I finally got to the point where it became solid again, and the wire was fresh, and I was able to, connect them back up. So there's that. Yep. And we also picked up another wheel and tire because he didn't have a spare. Needs a spare, at least 1. I personally would have 2, like I mentioned before on the other trailer. Yeah, I'm all about having more than 1. You just never know. And these tires, I don't know what the rating is. I'm sure you can find out. Read whatever's on it. It's ever imprinted on the side. But trailer company I deal with, they carry good stuff. I asked them what the rating and everything was per tire, and he's good. He's good to go. And more right here. So this side is complete. It's got the right amount of drag as far as that goes. Yeah. So now I'm going to move to the other side and get set up, but I know I'm going to have to go get more grease. So I will be back, and once that's all finished up, which is simple enough, I got to take the races out of the hubs, put the new bearings in, grease everything up beforehand, and put it all back together, put the 2 tires on there, and then I'm going to take care of the wiring harness up in the front. And because everything here, all the wiring, everything that has to do with this has all been taken care of, like I mentioned on the other side. So I'll be able to test it, but I'll be back. Hello, and it's the next day and I'm back. Today it's going to be all about taking care of the rest of the wiring issues that are with this trailer. I'm going to put a couple of new chains on, and let's see what else. I got to replace some of the upper deck lighting. I think there's maybe a couple of ambers that have to be changed. Definitely a couple more red ones in the back of the trailer. Last night I got all the brakes working. I wouldn't know what to really say about this, but the wiring, it's old. And as I was inspecting and hoping that the brakes were working, there was 3 that worked. 2 on this side working and 1 on the other. And it was the front axle that was working. The back one wasn't, and that's because of the wiring. It's old, so it was falling apart. So when I found what part of the reconnection that I made wasn't solid, I fixed it. So now all 4 brakes are working, and working well. I hope that it holds up a long time, considering the way the wire, and mostly the wire that comes off of the actual brake assembly, the magnetic part that's inside the brake drum area. There's 2 green wires on each and every application. So I found that those are the ones, I guess, that are more decayed or lesser wire maybe today than it was, based on the day when they were made. So I don't know if they sell a kit eliminating the fact that they'd have you change out the magnetic thing and the wiring, or if they make a kit that would actually go on to the magnetic part and new wiring. I have no idea. But nevertheless, that's what I discovered about the wiring, the part that is the worst as far as decay, being dry rotted or falling apart, however you want to put it. It is the 2 green leads that come out from the magnetic part that's inside the drum. But they're working, and they're working well. So that's what matters right now. So I'm going to get to putting on the new, as they call it, the jacketed cable. This one's got lights on it. That's pretty cool. And it's got an auxiliary, a right turn, I guess EB. I don't know what EB means. Emergency brake? I'm not really sure. Then I'm certain that the opposite side would have, the left turn signal and whatever else. But I'm going to put this new one on, put the new battery in it, and then the disconnect. Here's the new battery and the new disconnect. And let's see what else is in here. Yeah, I got there's 2 lights because I already put one on was a total of 5 that has to be changed. Oh, we even got new clamps because the other ones that were on there, the 2 that hold the wiring in, half of it is rusted, so the screws had a hard time turning and I had to cut them free. So they're cheap. Change them out, and that'll be the end of that silliness. And I'll put the 2 new chains on them, which I believe they are up here on the table. There's one, and there's the second one. Even have some reflectors that have to go on. Chief in charge just jumped up on her little stand again. I just fed her like 2 minutes ago. So this is telling me she wants more. I don't know about that, kitty cat. I mean, you eat an awful lot. I think in relatively of size, you eat more than I do. Damn, kitty. But might as well go give her dish back, because she's looking and she's waiting. She wants her food. She wants it now. She's gonna paw pat me. When she does that, that cracks me up every time. Here she is, the star of the show. Well, put the boot. What are you kidding? Let me have the camera. Let me in here. Let me in here, kitty. I know you're on candy camera. You're on kitty camera. Well, here's kitty. She don't know what's going on. She sees this object pointing at her. As far as she didn't freak out and run for a feral cat, she's still got her freakiness about her. She acts a little strange. But I'm going to do the wiring, so I'll be back. Okay, I am back, and this trailer is done. You can see the new chains are on there. The power supply is on. It's a nice one too. It's got lights on there like I showed before. The disconnect, the emergency disconnect, the new battery, everything inside there. Thing is mounted. Yep, all ready to rock and roll. Everything from wherever was missing a reflector to all the lights that had to be changed. There was 5 of the red ones that had to be changed. So they're all done. Trailer is completed. Breaks the works. So that's going to end this video. I do appreciate people watching. Hope you liked it. Hopefully it helps a little bit, if especially with the wiring. And the one thing I want to mention with this particular trailer, the wiring, the 5 wires that are in that harness that supply this trailer, the colors are not going to match what works for the new wiring setup to plug into your vehicle. So what you'll probably have to do is test them to make sure that you know which is supplying what. From the blue, as you would probably know, is for the brakes, so that will match. The red that's on the trailer is, I think, one of the turn signals, and then the green does not match up with the green that's on there. So the bottom line is every trailer might be a little different, so you're going to have to test. Put 12 volts to each wire and make sure you're grounded when you're doing it, so you'll find out that it works or doesn't work. If you don't ground whatever power supply that you're going to use, I use this battery to test the wires and to double check to make sure that the brake lights and stuff were going on. I did use my truck and plugged it in so that I know the turn signals and so forth coming out of that wiring harness, which I already knew what they were, just to verify. Like the yellow is the left-hand turn signal. But it's the bottom line is you're going to have to verify the old wiring harness so that when you hook it up to the new wiring harness, it stands correct. So that's the story. I do appreciate people watching. And if you would, will I show up in the picture? Oh, there I am. if you would like. Subscribe, that'd be great. Make a comment if you like. And if there's anything in particular that I could do to make these things a little bit better, just let me know. I am learning, like I said before, especially with the mic thing that doesn't seem to work for me all the time. I don't know why, but I'm working on it. And from there, I'm going to do the best I can. But thanks for watching, and until then, try to get something done.